What's up and welcome to Party Invite, where we invite you to a gaming community of inclusiveness and diversity. Your party members today are Thomas Egan.
Hey.
Carlos Gomez.
Hello.
Debbie Hill.
Hi.
And I am your party leader, Chris Mowry. Our companion on this episode is a voice and mocap actor in some of your favorite video games. He's Taskmaster in The Avengers, Ernie the Old Vet in Marvel's Spider-Man, and the first big scary fucker with a pickaxe in The Last of Us Part 2, Walt Gray.
Hi.
Before we get into what... Oh, well, we're very happy for you to be here. Before we get into what we've been playing, let's get to know Walt a bit. Will you tell the people out there a little bit about yourself, Walt?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Walter Gray IV. Transplant from... Enchanté. A transplant from Western Pennsylvania. Moved out here to go to school, UCLA, once I graduated. Was very fortunate enough to get a production assistant position at Sony's motion capture stage back when they were at the Culver Studios. And then from that, worked for about 8 years as a PA, and then we moved to Playa Vista with their brand new stages. And through those 8 years, worked on a number of Sony titles and some other titles that required mocap, TV or otherwise. And then through that, got myself a wonderful VO agent, and then they brought me to Atlas Talent, and I've been with them ever since, and been an actor and a production assistant. I just retired from being a production assistant a little over a year ago, which apparently was good timing due to the pandemic, unfortunately.
Right.
But since I've left Sony, I reached out to the powers that be and said, hey, if you need a director, so I've had experience directing, and being on the motion capture stage for so long, I was able to kind of see how communication worked and how sometimes it might be improved, and I wanted to help with that. And that's kind of my hope, is someday, once we get everything under control and we can shoot freely again on all these wonderful projects in these games, is that I could actually direct on a motion capture stage. My dream is to act. That's what I went to school for. That's what I got my master's degree in, is acting. And the combination of acting and video games has just been a dream come true. So that is what I've been doing ever since 2011, I guess. So.
Wow.
And now I'm here.
You've been in it for a minute then.
Yeah.
In it for a minute. Yes. Yeah. Worked on a lot of wonderful projects with some amazing people on all of them. An amazing team at Sony. I wouldn't trade those years for anything.
That's cool. That's great. We have a few questions here for you just to dig into.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, moving on. Moving on. What's the biggest difference between stage/screen acting and acting in video games?
I would say the technical aspects. When you're on stage, you need to project. There's a saying, or maybe my father made it up, but you need to be able to be seen, heard, and understood to be, to help the script, help the play, find your light, work with your other actors. But yeah, being on stage is a much more physical presence. You have that live audience there and their energy. But I've only been on camera once professionally for HBO, 7 years ago now, 2013. And that was a unique and wonderful experience. On-camera acting is very specific, very technical, knowing where to look. You're usually mic'd up, so you don't usually have to worry about projection because it's very intimate. But with motion capture acting, it's very much like theater in the round, where you're in a big cage of cameras and you are mic'd up, but depending on the project, the camera's digital, it can be anywhere. And they can place it wherever they want. There's some exceptions, like God of War. You guys probably already know they were very diligent with their digital representation of the camera and where that went with the actors and the motions. So in cases like that, you might have to play to the camera. But normally motion capture, you can just be in the scene and they'll get what they need. And that is surprisingly freeing, despite being in a silly motion capture suit, and especially those HMC, the head-mounted cameras with the bright lights in their face and all the dots from the makeup. it looks like it can be restricting, but once you kind of let go of all that and just act and be in the moment, it's incredibly freeing and a lot of fun. And then being part of, you know, a game coming out that you then get to play later, if you're a gamer, it's just phenomenal. And then voiceover acting in the booth is just another. It's all technical. Voiceover in the booth is wonderful because it doesn't matter what I look like, TV and not always stage, but in my experience, it helps if you look nice.
Right.
And yeah, that's just not a factor. And voiceover, your whole performance is what you do with your mouth, and it's that's freeing as well. That's a bit like auditions are very fun to submit for auditions for whatever it is, even if it's a commercial selling a pain pill or something. You can always put some of yourself into it. But it's all of those different I have no words tonight. 2020 just got rid of my vocabulary. You have to be in public, you have to talk to people. It's been like weeks.
Right.
No, all those different medias. The acting should be the same because it's coming from you and what you're doing and how you get to your character. But the main differences are the technical aspects, I would say, to finally answer your question.
I think that was a great answer.
Cheers.
Yeah, it's about the journey, not the destination only.
There you go.
What is a moment that really sticks with you from a video game performance? Well, let's do that then.
Well, all right. So I didn't work on this. We did not shoot this, but one of the first ones I wrote down was Arthur Morgan losing his horse in Red Dead Redemption 2. I didn't see that coming. That was Roger Clark is the actor that played Arthur Morgan, and very consistent, very grounded performance throughout the whole game. But then when that horse died, that the game, kept having you take care of and brush, and I took care of my horse like crazy. If I accidentally, ran into a fence or something, I felt terrible. But when he says thank you to the horse while it's dying, lost it.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch of other ones, but the next, well, I mean, not next. That's the other thing. I can't. It's almost like the Game Awards. Like, we're gonna go through all the nominations later. I can't compare this game to this game. Ghost of Tsushima is drastically different from Last of Us Part 2, and to say like what's the best art direction, I'm just like, they're both phenomenal. I can't.
Right.
You can't make me choose. I did choose because that's what we're doing. But
Last week we went through some of our favorite ones, and two of my favorite video games are God of War, the newest one, and Celeste. And those video games, it's absolutely apples and oranges.
Yeah,
totally.
And I don't think I can pick one of my favorite children. I don't think I can.
Yeah. So, and that's why this list was difficult, but I also just ran off. So the another one I would say is Last of Us Part 2. And it's very early in the game when Joel plays Pearl Jam for Ellie. When he plays the guitar and then gifts the guitar to her, I was just like, oh, this is how we're going to go. Okay. And then, of course, the rest of that, I was just an emotional mess. And like everyone else that went through that journey, almost couldn't handle it. But that moment in particular, and to see those characters back after 7 years. And I think I was actually there for the day we shot that. And it's interesting because there are days like the first Last of Us when Joel loses Sarah, and Hannah Hayes as Sarah, as his daughter, was amazing. I was there for those shoots and the reshoots, and their emotion and the acting was all there. And on set, there was not a dry eye in the studio.
Goosebumps.
But then seeing that raw performance and then seeing how it's translated in the final product after a whole insanely talented team of animators and sound designers and everybody and then the music, it's fascinating to see the raw data and the raw acting and then how it's implemented. And if they get me both times, amazing.
Yeah.
I guess I just gave you 3, but sorry.
Well, no, that's perfect.
Stuck one in there.
Here for it.
Carlos, I think this next question was from you.
Oh, yeah. Mine was, now that we've started another extremely powerful, it feels like, console generation, what do you think is left for performers to bring to the gaming sphere?
Because of the technology?
Yeah, I mean, it's constantly evolving, and games are getting more
Totally.
cinematic. But
Got it. Yeah.
Are you asking if we should expect more things like Senua's Sacrifice, where it was basically just putting her like directly into the game,
I can
like
talk
just
about that all
absorbing
day.
her? Yeah. Like
Yeah, I mean, to both of your points, I think yeah, because the technology, yeah, I mean, with Sony specifically, we were always I can't speak, I'm assuming they do the same thing now, just socially distant, but there's still the suits, there's still the markers, but now there's suits that don't need the markers, that either just have little lights on them, or it's getting so the capture technology is getting so good that they won't need suits at any point, and then you're just filming. It's just a film, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
games have been
Yeah.
doing that for a while now anyway, and so with that in mind, the acting process is never going to change. You're always going to need performers. Um, no matter, and I don't want to say no matter because I can't speak to the amazing talent of animators, but especially with early 2000 games, you can tell when something was mocapped and when something was keyframed. You can tell when an animator did it, and it can look really good, but just that step is off or that shoulder is off, and every time there's motion capture, it's always cleaned up with an animator, but it's always on the skeleton of an actual person moving through a volume, which is how we get that groundedness with the movement in game or otherwise. And so I think no matter what happens with the technology, it will always be beneficial for studios to hire performers to act out their scripts.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So I don't think I don't think that'll affect the acting community or the voiceover community. Yeah.
I just see now they're probably just gonna put the game around you instead of putting you in the game. That's just gonna be the next step in technology. It's gonna
Possibly.
be like Log Horizon or like Dot Hack all over again.
Yeah, it just makes me feel like it's just going to get much more intimate with the way that a performer is going to feel it.
It would be cool, personally. I mean, I don't know how far we are from this, but when you do shoot on a stage, the developers usually have a digital set for you to put onto the mocap stage, and then you can look up on a TV on any wall, and you can kind of see while you're in the suit. Oh, here's my character. There's the rig for the character, and then here I am on the scene. Oh, there's this box. I'm sitting on this rock. Like a lot of that for, I mean, any of these Spider-Man, God of War. Anytime there's a set. And would it be interesting at some point that VR gets so good or so small or minimal that we can just wear, like, I mean, for lack of a better word, Google glasses. Remember those? You can just wear like some shades or something and see everything as the actor, and then you're already in the world. And then you can see your other character as they're supposed to. If it's a Star Wars game and they're an alien or they're a Wookiee, you can actually see their height and know where the eye line is, because that's a big one with creatures and humans, right?
Right.
Like no, and instead of me, and there's so much footage of me in God of War just holding like a stick with Kratos's face, above Chris Judge, while Robert Craighead or somebody has to like the dwarf, because there's dwarf and Kratos, but then the actors are only this far apart from each other. That won't be a thing anymore. That would be kind of
That's
interesting. As long as you don't knock it at any real world things, it'd be like a
Yeah.
quest where it hopefully shows you. That would be kind of cool. But then also, mocap stages would love to have just hit a button, and then maybe it's like a digital grid on the floor that's carpeted, and then there's your environment instead of people like me for years having to pick up these heavy boxes and putting them and then just build a Jeep for Uncharted. So
Yeah.
many times. Worth it, but my goodness.
Apple boxes all day long.
Apple boxes all day long. C-stands, everything. Probably the closer they get to getting rid of all that extra production stuff. Like, yeah, Senua's Sacrifice seemed like a very intimate production, and it was very effective, obviously. Like, it focused very much on her performance, and then they just put the world in there. So it's exciting to see where it's going to go. It's so difficult this year right now to like, I'm still enthusiastic about it. I'm excited about it, but I just don't know when that can start to really.
Right.
I'm sure the companies feel the same way,
Yeah.
because it's also about saving money and trying to have the best product you can without wasting too much money.
They're kind of doing that AR stuff with Mandalorian, aren't they? Don't they have like some video screens, I guess, that they're using
Yeah.
instead of green screens?
And it looks beautiful. I mean, It looks like old school Star. It looks like they're shooting, in Tunisia, like they did on the original films, which is just so impressive.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah, just panoramic. Yeah,
they also added either assets from either Unity or Unreal. I don't remember which one.
It's Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so impressive. The Unreal Engine is just it's beautiful.
You got the next one, don't you?
Yeah. So.
I love everybody taking turns. I'm just like, yeah, yes, yep.
And you.
And you.
I hope you have TVs on all sides that show each of us so that we are your set. You're like, oh,
Yeah, I only have one monitor, but I should have done like a multi-monitor just for this and just
Right.
put one of you on each of them.
And do some camera flashes for you.
Yeah.
you're right. So my question is, especially in 2020 where so much, I mean, I used to like running events here in Kansas City, but that's out of the question. I mean, even if I could do it safely within guidelines, I'm not about to try to sell that to people. I'm not trying to invite somebody out, right? So that isn't even happening. That's completely off my table. So in the world of 2020, where so much stuff has gone digital, whether that's Zoom meetings to watch movies with each other or business meetings, or, I'm in front of my desk. This is now my game station and my workstation all at once.
Totally.
I'm here a lot. Because of that, I've been able to invest in, a webcam for the first time and some other things. With all of these changes, with other people experiencing what I just described and what we've all experienced, if you were starting out today, let's say you're 20 years old and you're just trying to start today, what would you do? What would you recommend somebody direct their focus on? Whether that's trying to build the network that allows them to find a job, or just to hone their craft, while they've just got their station with all their equipment.
Yeah.
As an aspiring voiceover artist, I am very interested in this question. So let me just
I hopefully take some notes because
get some classified
may
information
or may
here
not.
and,
Perfect. Good.
Take it down. Okay.
I don't take too scrupulous notes because I don't know how helpful this is going to be. But I have had some people ask me, like some young performers coming out of college, like they graduated, this spring, digital, remotely or whatever, or people reaching out from my undergrad, being like, "Hey, I heard you're the person to get in touch with about starting a voiceover career. How do I do that?" If I was 20 and going through this right now, I would have no idea. But what I can say is, do whatever is in your power to do. Now, what does that mean? At the beginning of this pandemic, I did not have the money to have a good enough setup at home to record auditions without, considerable room noise. It wasn't as bad as like being in the bathroom or, a hallway or something, but it wasn't great. And then thankfully, because of those directing gigs, I was able to kind of put that into a better mic system, and a preamp, which I didn't even know how to use a preamp. That's the other thing. A lot of actors now are having to learn to become their own engineers to a certain extent. And that's a big thing, I guess, for 2020. I'm gonna try to be as clear and concise as I can with my advice. What I normally say is, have some way of recording yourself. iPhones are surprisingly decent when it comes to just recording for auditions, at least. Or ask your friends, if anybody is in sound design or sound engineering. How I did it years ago before a pandemic was I asked a really wonderful human being and a friend of mine who was normally running sound for a lot of the Naughty Dog games, if he would mind if I come up to his place, record some commercial sides, and then also eventually record some animation sides. You should have a commercial reel and a animation reel, both in VO. Once you are able to find, there's like royalty-free scripts everywhere. You can just Google voiceover scripts and kind of find what fits your voice. If your voice can sell a car or a night out at Buffalo Wild Wings or a PlayStation 5 or whatever that commercial is selling, then you find some royalty-free music also available just by searching for it. And then if you have that audio friend, I say get an engineer friend because I don't know how to do all that yet. I haven't learned all that yet. Ask people that might no, which I guess is what you guys are doing for me right now. So I'm doing my best. And get those reels together. Once you have something of your work that you just did at home, no matter what the quality, if you're just able to put something on, then you research who some of your favorite voiceover artists are, or some of your performers. Go on IMDb, who represents them, what agencies. Is it a voiceover agency? Just research voiceover agencies in your town. They're all over the place, not just in LA and New York. They're everywhere. See who's close to you.
From one.
Go to their, I mean, not now, but I'd say go to their door and, like, just be like, hey, here's a thumb drive of my, or just reach out and say, hey, this is who I am. Here's my headshot and resume. If you have previous work, I'd love for you to, here's my reels, and then, like an audition, just let it go into the ether. And if they get back to you, wonderful. If they don't, on to the next. So much easier said than done. And it seems right now it is a bit of a vacuum, or it can feel like a vacuum and a bubble that we're stuck in, because we are hopefully home all the time, working from home, communicating like this from home. It's easy to feel like you're not really getting out there as well as you could physically if you had a physical audition to go to in a booth or something. But this too shall pass. And the nice thing about that I've been reminded of a couple times is just like the Great Depression, just like the plague, every time a big event happened that kind of knocked civilization down a peg or two, the arts came flourishing back. And theater and film and TV. I mean, all these movies that we've been wanting to see this year are now going to be out next year or the year after, or they're all going to stream on HBO Max. And the voiceover and video games, especially, it's an escape. Art is an escape. That's why everybody's binging all these Netflix shows right now, because we can't go anywhere. It's going to be a necessary, and that's the positive thing to look forward to, I feel, for all performers, is that we are all going to be needed and appreciated for our art, because things have not been great, and they will get better, but we just don't know when, and that's difficult. In the meantime, since we don't know the when, work on yourself, play games, listen, turn on the car radio and listen to those commercials and go, oh, I like that Del Taco commercial. Maybe I can do that. And all commercials should be fair game, as long as you're not charging money for them. So if you do hear a Del Taco commercial that you like, or you see a script online, you can use it if it's been done before, as long as you're not charging for people to hear it. It's fair game. Anybody wants to use it.
Cool. I did that.
Did I answer your questions? Was that specific? Was that helpful?
That was great.
Okay.
I'd love to answer.
Yeah.
That's
everything
fantastic.
is so murky right now anyway, so
Yeah,
I think that's about as
so difficult.
clear an answer as anybody could give.
I'm so inclined to say, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, that support system, whatever that is for you right now, and say, this is what I want to do. I want to excel in this when the opportunity is available again, or if the opportunity is available now. And then just take those steps, do that research. What companies are near me? Who do I want to work with? Reach out, ask questions. I have no problem suggesting, if anybody comes to me like, hey, I'm looking for a new agent, I'll say, let me get in touch with Atlas and see if they have an opening, or if they're willing. They're almost always, most agencies should be willing to hear someone's stuff, or see if they could use them in their roster. Worst case scenario, they say, no, thank you, we're good. We have a full roster. And you just, cool. There are tons of places you can submit yourself to. So that's a positive thing.
Let's get into what we've been playing. Devi, what have you been playing?
Well, right now I've gotten back into Spellbreak because they have just released their Earth chapter. So their new story mode, which is called Chapters, goes over, I can't remember the lore of the game exactly, but it goes, each of them have a different mission for the bracelets, the gauntlets. So the fire one was first, and then the wind one, I think, and then after that was toxicology, and now they're working on the stone. So that's where I'm at on that.
And that's
not really delving too deeply into it though.
And that's the magic-based wizard
battle royale, yeah.
Battle royale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I really love. Like I said before, I was so tired of guns, 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 Battle Royale. And so I really got into Battle Royale. Realm Royale kind of blurred the line because it had magic, but also guns. And Spellbreak is really where it's at if you want like magical Battle Royale gunplay, for lack of a better word. I hate that magic play. But it's a lot of fun. It's free, pretty sure.
Yeah, it's free.
Okay, yeah. I always forget what games are free because there's so many now.
Right.
There's so many. Other than that, I've been playing Overwatch. They just released a new Symmetra comic, and Symmetra is my girl, as you can see for the people that are watching the video. It's not on right now, but it can be. They released some new short story for her, and along with that, a skin challenge, and that'll last until the 30th of November, I think. Basically, what you could do is just win a set number of matches, and then you'll unlock some stamps and a new skin. And the skin is just gorgeous. I have to have it. It's the only skin I don't have. That's not the Tyrande skin for Symmetra, because I'm obsessed. And I've recently gotten into Godfall, because it's a hack and slash, and I love me some hack and slashes, and it is gorgeous, honey.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous. I'm so verklempt just thinking about it. It's gorgeous.
From what I've gathered from what I've seen and read about it, is that it is gorgeous. It's very shiny. The gameplay is pretty.
It's also very taxing on your computer.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm well above the minimum requirements, and even I had to calm it down because my computer was not happy at all.
But I've heard it's a little thin. Does it feel thin to you as far as what's going on or story or any of that stuff?
I mean, a lot of the games that have the prettiest shine don't really have the substance to go with it. Look at Anthem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That game was
shiny.
So pretty. It was super hyped up, so pretty, and then it was just like a piece of paper.
Right.
It was the shell of Destiny, basically. And I don't think it's that far gone, but I do wish that there were more.
And it's a $60 game, right? Or is it $70?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can buy, the new editions and then the additional content and all that whatnot.
Right. I almost feel like this one should have been a free one, but Gearbox isn't going to do that, Like they did that with what was their other?
It's very cinematic, so I can kind of understand the price point because all the resources that went into its production. I try to take pricing with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, because so many people put their time and their effort into making the thing that I'm just like, you know what? I want to support them. It's cool. And it's a new studio too. That's behind it. So I really want to, I don't want a whole, what is the studio that's behind Deus Ex? Eidos? I don't want to stay closed down. Eidos, yeah. I don't want another one of those situations because I really liked Human Revolution. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you think this finds its community, or do you think maybe there's a little too much competition in the same kind of genres?
I mean, since Destiny 2 Beyond Light came out, I feel like Godfall might have a little bit of competition there.
Right.
But since it's different fundamental gameplay as far as melee is concerned, it scratches a different itch, even though it's the same aesthetic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel like the closest thing I could compare it to is maybe Warframe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, but then I'm like, well, Warframe is also free, and that's where I was getting into the. It seems like the gameplay is good and it's very shiny and pretty and things like that. I just wonder if there's a little too much competition in that same genre where it's also free. I don't think the new Destiny Beyond Light stuff isn't free, right?
It's free.
Beyond Light's free?
For Game Pass.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's where
I'm
like I said, everything is free. It's so
Yeah.
hard to keep track now.
Right.
That's where I just think
$3.99.
I hope that a new game finds a foothold, but it might be tough for that game. But I don't know. I haven't heard
I
it.
think for me, it's going to come down to the runtime for me. If it's a short experience,
yeah,
I'll be a little disappointed that I paid what I did for it.
Right.
But we'll see. I mean, we can play it with friends, so that's always a plus.
Right. Yeah. It's
I'll be able to enjoy it and extend the longevity of my game by playing with other people. So that'll be fun once I get far enough.
There you go.
I'm
Carlos.
also playing Ninjala, but that's it. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I could talk about that forever.
Jolly. Carlos, speaking of
yes,
Destiny 2 Beyond Light, you've been playing a little bit of that?
Yeah, I took 3 or 4 hours just to screw around Destiny to catch up to the point that I should for Beyond Light. Because it's one of those situations, if you're not used to Destiny, then when a new expansion comes out, you have to level up to like a very incremental amount, because when you try to do the new missions, like you literally just can't do anything to the enemies.
Right.
Funny how
just,
guns work.
yeah, it absolutely stops you. It's like, oh, this is completely ineffective. All right, whatever. So I think I've gotten an hour and a half to 2 hours into the actual Beyond Light missions, and it's definitely a good time. Every time I try to go back to Destiny, it's like every 6 months I go back to Destiny and screw around, and then I have to decide on something else.
Right.
But
Same.
definitely being a Game Pass faithful, I was all over it the second it released.
Is that only on Game Pass for consoles, though? I think, because I didn't see it pop up on PC. So it might be a console.
I feel like
only.
it's across the board, but it might be a little delayed for PC.
That could be it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's something you're going to stick with, or do you feel like it's one of those things with Destiny where you bounce in, have your fun, bounce back out?
I mean, really, I'm in Destiny for the achievements. That's about it. It's got so many achievements on Xbox, it's not even funny. But there are some cool events still coming. It's gonna be the pod is gonna release afterwards, but in a couple days there's actually a big raid, and with every new raid there's a race to be the first to complete it, the
Right,
first fire
yeah.
team, and so there's a live stream on Saturday that's gonna be pretty cool, and if I can find other people to join my fire team, I might actually attempt that raid.
Nice.
So I'm looking it up. It says right now, Destiny 2, the Beyond Light DLC just came out on Game Pass for Android and console. I don't understand how Android has Beyond Light, but you know what? I'm
I
not here
don't
to
either.
question it.
Maybe like the Nvidia
Streaming,
Shield.
sir.
I mean,
It's through
maybe
streaming. It's
it
through
says
the xCloud
Android.
stuff.
So one way or another, Android's got it, but it
Weird.
looks like the rest of PC Game Pass does not. At least not right now.
That's what I thought. I'd be checking that Game Pass every day, seeing what's on there.
There's always new stuff.
I know.
It's overwhelming.
What else you got for me, Carlos?
Yeah, and with that, because I've been on that kick for 2 years, so you're welcome. But since the EA
Thanks,
Play
Carlos,
also
for doing that for us.
since EA Play just hopped onto Game Pass as well,
That's right.
I downloaded a lot of stuff, but I ended up actually just playing Plants vs. Zombies, the OG, because I needed a little bit of something to relax, and for some reason, I can't not play through the entire campaign of Plants vs. Zombies if I start. So that was like
It's binary.
4.
Either you dip your toe and it's the whole game, or
Yeah,
you're like, no, I don't have time.
it was like 4.5 hours. I did restart 2 missions, I think, but that was because I forgot about the shitty water missions. But hey,
Classic.
besides that,
Why are all water missions so bad?
I don't know about that. I like the water Mario levels. Those are always fun. No?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. That's fair. But just swimming in general is just so
difficult.
bothersome.
Yeah, you're right.
Although
You're right.
Donkey Kong got it right. I mean, it's pretty fast swimming. You know, it's not like you like flap, and then flap, and then you drift, and it's just
Right.
it's
Dude,
nice and streamlined. like a
Mario
dolphin.
Sunshine got it right. They're like, just give him a jet ski. Just let him
Right.
ride on the water. This is
There
great.
you go. It's such a slog.
I
7
also
out of 10. Too much water.
I also played a little bit of Tetris Effect Connected.
Yeah.
And that game, if you watch the previews, it looks trippy because it is trippy. It is. I didn't realize. I didn't realize by the trailers, but it is kind of an entire tantric exercise. Like it's trying to get you in the
Meditative.
same feels as as yoga and meditation. It's got this really hilariously pretentious quote for like starting the campaign. It's just like,
Yep.
start the journey to enlightenment, and like, oh my god, okay, I just
like
want to play
this.
Tetris.
But
But
it's
it is
so
actually
worth it.
really cool.
Yeah, it's so worth
Yeah.
it.
It's really cool. Like there's a level where there are natives like chanting behind you. The music gets extremely intense, and there's like motion graphics of horses like going through
Mhm.
the entirety of your screen as the blocks start falling faster. You're like, oh wait, whoa, huh, okay, this is a lot, but it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to check that out. Video games are wild, y'all.
Well, I remember playing it for PlayStation, but the exciting part about the Xbox One is that it's multiplayer. So we should probably do something with that. Thomas, what have you been playing?
All right. Are you ready for 30 seconds of Apex?
Well, you offer that, but we know
What's
we're going
timer?
to
I am
No, watch this,
setting
watch this,
the
watch this.
timer
I've got my
now.
timer right
Okay,
here.
on screen.
Right.
Yes,
Get
great.
a timer.
Okay. In Apex, I found out that I'm a lot worse than I thought I was. But I found out that if you're in the new map, you're floating in the sky. And of course, if you jump off, like I sure did on stream, you die. But I found out that if you accidentally drive a vehicle full of your teammates off of a cliff, it actually ejects you into the air, and you have a shot at like slow-mo falling down. Of course, if you slow-mo fall down right into a group of enemies, probably not going to win.
No,
Probably not going to win.
that sounds bad.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my 30 minutes, my 30 seconds of Apex.
30 minutes is like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I played it the other night on stream and had a blast. The other thing I've been playing also on stream was Spelunky. It's the good old Spelunky, but I played both Apex and Spelunky on my PS5. What I didn't think about until I had loaded the game up was I did not import my save file for Spelunky. It shouldn't be an issue. I haven't seen anyone online say they've had an issue transferring files over from PS4 to PS5, but
Right.
I did not do that, and I wasn't about to not stream so that I could mess with that. Some stuff I learned. So in Apex crossplay, normally when you stream, there's a button anybody can check, and it says, "I want my voice to appear on broadcasts," and that way, when I stream, my friends can be heard on the stream. But with crossplay on Apex and on presumably anything else, that checkbox doesn't exist because it's a PlayStation 4 checkbox.
Oh,
So the people not playing on PS4, there's not a box to check, not to my knowledge. So I don't know what the solution is there. I think that it's a system thing. I don't think it's a user error. I don't think it's me. Of course, I don't know what I'm doing. But the UI for PS5 to broadcast is so much better than the PS4. When I'm on my menus, it doesn't appear on the stream. So if I hit my PlayStation button once, instead of taking me to the home system screen like it does on PS4, it pulls up this little slider, and I can look through there through a bunch of things the game thinks is relevant to me, and the stream doesn't have to see that. And as a result, it doesn't put up the big old block screen that it usually does on PS4. It just makes it a much better viewing experience. The other thing is when chat talks to you now, it pops in on a place that you can designate on your screen. Instead of on PS4, you have to check a box, and your chat will appear on the right, like, fifth of your screen.
yeah.
And it's terrible.
It's
awful. So fortunately, they did away with that on PS5, and that's a win for accessibility because now it's much easier to run your stream just through your PlayStation instead of having to use your phone or a PC to run chat, because that's a big barrier for console streamers, especially if you're just low key and you're just trying to stream to your friends.
Right.
It seems a lot smoother. I spent about 5 whole minutes in a game trying to figure out how to leave a voice chat party.
Oh, that was so funny.
That was terrible.
He couldn't figure out how to leave an actual party in the PS5.
And so what's funny is I couldn't ask chat, like, hey, are you guys seeing something I don't? Because like I just described, the UI doesn't
there.
pop up.
Right.
They just see me standing still going, how do I use this thing? But I have a feeling once I get used to it, that will be a user error and not a PS5 error. And the last thing I've been playing is Hearthstone, which just came out with their new expansion a couple days ago as of this recording. And I played it for the first time tonight. That was fun because a buddy of mine we both jumped in Discord and opened our new packs together. So that was fun. I never really played Magic the Gathering, but I always appreciated the element of like, all right, we're going to go to the store, we're going to bust open a bunch of packs, and then right then and there we're going to play a few rounds. But I'm going to say that this is the weirdest expansion that I think they've ever come out with. There's just it's all over the place. Usually they pick one focus and they like one type of card, like one type of keyword they call it.
Right. And
generally the whole expansion focuses around that. And there is a new keyword that's a tiny bit complicated. But really it seems like they revisited a lot of elements of the game from the very, very beginning of when it came out, like 5 years ago or whenever. But they just gave everything a new coat of paint. So I really don't know how I feel about it yet. I will tell you there's the new Battle Pass system that people are very upset about, and rightfully so. I think
two bad Battle Passes in a row with Apex and Hearthstone, huh?
Yeah.
Well, make that three, because Twitch recently came out with a Battle Pass called the Monster Cat Gold affiliate path.
Yeah, what is that?
So you can subscribe to like Monster Cat's service for music, and you get like access to all of their music, and you can stream it on Twitch, which is, as you know, suffering DMCA over Avalanche nonsense. But now, if you are subscribed to Monster Cat Gold, I think is what it's called, for like 30 days or so, you automatically get Twitch affiliate status.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
which is funny. It really is a battle pass for
Twitch.
It's
a battle pass.
It's a battle pass for Twitch. Weird. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Walt, what have you been playing, good sir?
I've been playing the PlayStation Plus free titles that came out this month. So Hollow Knight, which I've been intrigued by forever. I saw it on Steam ages ago, and then I was like, oh, the whole edition is here for free. Downloaded that. Love that. Love the style and very fun dungeon crawler.
Right.
It's getting frustrating. It's getting very hard
so
now, where I'm just like, I can't. I need to get this, and then I found out just how involved it was, and I had to take a break. So then I picked up Shadow of War, not from the download, but it's right here. I had the Uber super crazy Steelbook edition from years ago when it came out. And I played Mordor. I beat it ages ago, and then I just never gone to war. So Shadow of War just started. So it's my backlog. It's my video game backlog, my quarantine backlog that I'm still chipping away at as best I can. That was after exhausting as much as I could in Avengers Online, and then Legends for Ghost of Tsushima, which is just beautiful and extremely well made. But that's the latest on that.
Nice.
Tell me more about Ghost of Tsushima. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I've only watched probably like 10 minutes of gameplay on it.
The Legends or like the whole thing?
Well, the whole thing, but I'm more interested in the Legends part, because that's the ship that I'm probably going to miss.
Yeah, Legends has practically no load times, which is insane to me. Visually, it's as stunning as the main game, which is also stunning. Legends is much more kind of like the demon mythology and the old supernatural tales about these good warriors, or you have 4 different classes: Ronin, Samurai, Hunter, which is the archer, and the assassin. And they're all equally fun to play for different reasons. And once you kind of get your skills up in the main game as Jin Sakai and you finish it, you kind of know how to do combat and stealth. Playing with your friends, especially if you can get a group of 4 together. And even in matchmaking, it's been pretty okay. You get I'm sure with Apex or any online game, you get sometimes somebody that loves to talk the whole time. You have to mute their mic, or they just start, shit talking you, and you're just like, I just came here to play my game, dude.
Or something.
Or they're it's like, Ma, the meatloaf in the background, or whatever. Yeah, we're trying to secure this point. What are you doing? But it is very fun to play. Again, I'm amazed at how quick it loads, how quick the matchmaking happens. You unlock costumes. It gets very difficult when you get into like nightmare mode and stuff like that, but it's really really fun. And there's the whole thing about Legends is there's this storyteller that tells you these tales, and you end up playing these tales. It's these little one-off adventures, and it's either survival, which is like you have points in a village that you need to defend from all the demon baddies coming in, or it's a story, like a linear story that you go through and do, hopefully with somebody or just matchmaking online. And it's really just so beautifully well done. A lot of the the Game Award nominations, I just kept fighting myself between Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. That's what I was saying earlier. Like those two games are masterpieces, but you can't compare them. One's open world and the story and the acting and everything is just perfect, Tsushima. And then, Last of Us is just so meticulous and beautiful and, already an established IP, but just the breadth of it. So yeah, I felt bad. Like I kept wanting to be like, I want to, vote art direction on this, but
yeah,
it's so difficult. So many choices.
Right. We were talking about this earlier before we hopped on the pod, Walt. Did you end up finding yourself in Shadow of War?
Not yet. I just started it. That was my first ever day of mocap. I think they mic'd me once, but it's crowd scenes. Like I'm Gondorian soldier number 2 in the back at one point, or I think I say my lady at one point, and that's it. Like I'm I was the extra body for the day, but Troy Baker was actually directing on the stage that day, and he invited me to join, and it was awesome. It was a really fun time. I was back on WB's stage when they still had a mocap stage. Yeah, it's just a fun game to play, and I'm such a huge Lord of the Rings nerd that to return to that world right now is actually really comforting and very fun.
I've been playing a lot of things. So I account share with my old roommate, and he got Call of Duty Black Ops, so I've been playing a little bit of that. That sure is some Call of Duty multiplayer fun. It's definitely it's not as deep as what Modern Warfare was, and Modern Warfare was a great game. But it has its I don't know, there's something about it. It's almost zany, but not quite. Like I want them to amp up the zany. Like make it weirder. Like I love that one of my score streaks is a combat bow that shoots flaming arrows, and as soon as it hits somebody, they explode in fire. Like that is fantastic. Love that. More of that. Give me more of the goofy, kind of weirder stuff in Call of Duty, and I'll probably like it more. I bet.
Man, you said that the other day, and I've been thinking about that. I want to see a Van Helsing style Call of Duty. Give me
that's zombies basically, but
stuff. It's what?
That's zombies kind of.
Well, I think
it's something about with crossbows and silver bullets and actual.
And you could have flintlock pistols and stuff, but I want dark, moody environments where every bullet counts, but you're actually fighting other players. Of course, that would not be Call of Duty.
That wouldn't be Call of Duty.
There's a game back in the 90s called Heretic, and it was a Doom clone, and you should download that for free because it's available everywhere.
There you go.
Okay.
But
ask and you shall receive.
But yeah, having that on the PS4 is fine, and it's all well and good. But I've heard on the PS5 it takes full advantage of the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers. And I'm like, man, that's going to completely change how a shooter plays, because you're going to feel the vibration of the guns being different, and you're going to feel the triggers differently. And I'm like, that sounds
I'm going to tell you, the haptic feedback just on Apex, pretty cool.
Right.
On PS5. It is really dope. I can't speak to anything with the triggers and stuff. I've heard you talking about the dynamic triggers for each gun in Call of Duty. But straight up, just flying through the air and hitting the ground and feeling your bullets in a different way on the PS5 controller feels awesome.
Yeah.
But it's just another way to connect you to the game that you're playing, and it seems so small. Well, I stopped thinking about it, which is good, because I don't want to sit here and constantly be thinking about the rumble in my hands. But it's almost like the flashlight on the end, the light on the end of your the backside of your PS4 controller.
Right.
It's like when you're playing The Last of Us 1, at least, depending on where you are, the flashlight in the game is represented in the light on your controller.
Mm-hmm.
So its brightness will go up or down based on, the batteries of your flashlight. And as it goes out and you have to shake your controller in the first one, the same thing. It, makes a sound and the haptic feedback, and then your light will flash on and off as well. And that stuff it's so small, but it just feels so good.
It adds, yeah. I also been playing Crash Bandicoot 4, which I'm not. It's About Time, I think it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried a little bit of Insane Trilogy, and I was like, man, these games are hard as hell. And I'm not a huge fan of this. And then the new one kind of makes it slightly easier. You have like 2 modes. You can play it in Classic or Modern. Classic is you have 3 lives, go earn more lives, or if you run out of lives, game over, start over, which does not sound like anything I want to be doing at this point. So the Modern one just kind of keeps a death counter in the top right corner. And if you get under a certain number of deaths, you get like extra bonuses and things like that. But the little I played of it, I got through the first world and I'm on to the second one. It's really good. I'm actually kind of surprised. I really wanted to play Sackboy, which just came out. I'm like, I want like a 3D platformer, just fun, like do this. And Crash Bandicoot 4 is doing that for me. It's good. It takes a little bit from, it seems like a little bit Rayman Legends-y, which is a fantastic game, and a little bit of Ratchet and Clank. There's like some grinding segments and stuff, but it's really good. Actually surprised how much I like that. A game that I did not enjoy very much, that has a free demo right now on Google Stadia, until December 21st. All you need is a Gmail account, and you just plug in a controller to your computer, and you can play it, is Immortals Phoenix Rising. Is that right? Did I get it right?
Yes, Immortals
Okay.
Phoenix Rising.
Immortals
Yes.
Phoenix Rising.
They're not going to like us.
They are not going to like us. We are not a big fan of this game. So I finally got to play it, and we know it's like a Greek mythology, Breath of the Wild clone, for lack of a better thing. It's made by the same people that did Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was good. This seems like Breath of the Wild for teenagers is the best way. I'm like, it's not exactly kids, but it's like, it's not, I don't think it's for adults. I don't think it's for children.
Yeah.
Where does Breath of the Wild itself stand on that?
Breath of the Wild's like everything. Everybody can kind of play that.
Breath of the Wild is rated E for everyone.
Yes.
Anybody should.
I was like,
will
if you're
play.
about to say that game is only for kids or only for adults, I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you.
Yeah. But Phoenix.
You're about to be like, these hands rated E for everyone.
Immortals has like moments where I'm like, okay, this could be cool. There's different gear you equip and stuff, and you don't have the same thing in Breath of the Wild where you use a weapon for a little while and it breaks, and then you're like, shit, now I gotta get something. No, you don't have to worry about that stuff. But the humor and the writing does not land at all. Yeah. It does not hit right. And especially coming off of Assassin's Creed Odyssey and coming off of Hades, which do Greek mythology very well. Seeing it done this way, like Zeus is like a kind of a goofy character, which how is the god of gods goofy? Like, I don't understand that exactly. Like, there's one point where he's talking to Prometheus, who's chained to the rock like he's supposed to be, which is like, okay, that's good. You're doing it right. But they're like the ones narrating. And at one point, like I went through this area and Zeus is like, says, Prometheus, lay off the herbs. They make you paranoid. And I was like, what in the what? Like, where is that coming from?
It's trying to be meta for no reason at all.
There's
it's
like,
kind of unfortunate.
I have a screenshot of Dionysus in Hades saying, "Hey, take this potion. It'll make you last longer, if you know what I mean." Because he gave it to me when I was almost dead, and I'm like, Dionysus, you're all right.
Yeah, but that's written. But that's written well, and it like makes sense for the character. Whereas like in this, it's just like there's like a whole scene where Zeus and Prometheus are just arguing, and your character is like standing there like.
Yeah, like you're actively feeling
like,
bad for Phoenix.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, this is annoying. Like, why are you listening? These are the narrators of the whole game. Like, this is what it's going to be like the whole time. Like, I don't want to do this. But otherwise, like, the puzzles were fine and interesting. The gameplay was fine. But, like, the humor and the writing just do not hit for me at all. Like, just completely miss me. But, good news, it's free to try right now. So, if you have a computer and a Google account, you can go check it out. And I was actually really surprised at how well Stadia works. Clicking through that, it took me maybe 5 minutes to like check all the privacy things they wanted me to check, and then a browser opened up and I was playing a video game in my browser. And it was like, oh, wow, that streaming games works how it's supposed to. Thanks so much for Walt for joining us. He was a fantastic guest. Unfortunately, we went a little long and he had to skedaddle.
So our community spotlight this time, I remembered because I didn't have a PS5 arrive right before we started recording. Our community spotlight this week is John Manhart. He is one of the mods in our Party Invite community. You can find him on Twitch as It's Manhart, just like it sounds, ITSMANHART. So he joined our community earlier this year, and the reason that made him stand out so much is he's pretty new to streaming, and he's a self-proclaimed casual streamer. But he immediately got into our community and several of the other communities around Kansas City and wanted to collect all of the local streamers in one easy-to-reach place. He immediately, without prompting, put in the legwork to try to increase visibility on small-time local streamers around Kansas City. And that's definitely leadership. Like, I was really impressed by that. And that was the first reason that I wanted to ask him to be one of the mods in our community. But he streamed all sorts of games. He's played Phasmophobia here and there. He's played a bunch of indie games I've seen him run on stream. He's also a very big coffee enthusiast, and he'll have about a 20-minute stream sometime during the day. I've tuned in while I was at work, and he'll make coffee using all of these contraptions. Like, to say that he is an enthusiast is like understating it.
Right.
But I really appreciate the hustle. And I can say that I've never seen a coffee streamer before. Anyway, that's John Manhart. So I asked him to give us a few sentences about himself. He says, "Hello, I am Manhart, and some of my earliest gaming memories are of fighting with my brother over the Sega controller. What I enjoy the most about video games is connecting with people while we disconnect from the real world for a bit," referring to us in 2020. He started casually streaming here during COVID as a way to interact with people outside of his wife and his cat. And like I said, he made an effort to connect the local streamers around here, which is not so different at all from what we're doing. So, right. John, if you're listening, I am so glad that you're one of the mods on our team, and we're really happy to have you. So
thanks, bud.
Go give him a follow on Twitch, and you can find anything else that he wants to promote from there. That's twitch.tv/itsmanhart, HART.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Party Invite podcast. Thank you for listening. Make sure you go follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Go check out our Patreon, patreon.com/partyinvite. Party on over to partyinvite.games. And you can find our podcast on Spotify and all your favorite platforms to listen to audio from. So do that. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Bye,
Later.
everyone.